Hello, everybody. I'm so grateful to be here. I am trying to get better at Facebook Live. And so I'm going to make efforts to see how people chat with me and see how I can chat interactively with you while I'm on Facebook. I'd love to answer people's questions and, see what's coming up for everybody while I talk. My goal today is to share with you 5 really important tips that I feel writers experience when they are writing about their own lives that can help them to emote emotion better in their writing. But first, I just wanted to make a big shout out. Hi, Mary Lynn. Good to see you. I'm happy you're here. Happy Tuesday. And my workshop participants were incredible, vulnerable people this past Saturday. Wow. I was blown away by what they wrote about and by what they shared. And one thing I asked them was, hi, Marilyn. What I asked them was, why do you write? And there was that moment where people had to think about it. And when they thought about it, they realized that they want to talk about what they've been through. They want to share their stories. They want to transform their pain is what I experience many people in my workshops doing. I'll give you a little bit of information about me if you don't know a lot about me. I was in the movie business for 20 years. I made movies that screened all over the globe with name actors such as Anthony LaPaglia and Eric Stoltz and Tom Sadowski. And I had a lot of fun doing that until I no longer felt fulfilled. And what I realized when I became a book coach was I was starting to notice the people I was walking through their books were doing incredible amounts of healing by telling their stories. They were transforming right before my eyes, chapter by chapter. And I realized in the movie business, I had made movies about people who, excuse me, I have that cold that's going around, that needed to, my 8-year-old's cup, nice, huh? That needed to transform. So I would make movies about alcoholics or drug addicts or disenchanted youth or, movies about race or just people that were unable to get unblocked. And I would make these movies, and I realized I was making these movies about these kinds of people, these characters, because I wanted millions of people to see these movies so that they would heal by watching what these characters went through and identify. Hey, Josh, how are you? Good to see you. Taking an early lunch, I guess, to get some writing tips. You've heard these writing tips before at the workshop. So at any time you want to tune out, you can. You'll get new ones next month or this month. I realized that when my movies did not get out to millions of people, hey, Anne-Marie, good to see you, I was disappointed. I was hoping that millions of people were going to see these movies. So then I realized that I wanted to heal people and help them transform their pain through writing. And I could do this through workshops and for people that needed their stories to be witnessed. And there wasn't a dry eye at my workshop last Saturday, which is amazing. And then I have people that have enough material to go into a whole book, and whoa, that is when the transformation, it's just off the charts. They realize visions, missions, experiences about themselves in contexts they never had thought of before because they're being witnessed by me. And so I'm happy to come to terms with the fact that I'm a book coach, but I'm also a healer. I know that word is like, wow, like movie producer for 20 years, and now I'm calling myself a healer, but it happens in my book coaching. I'm not just an editor. But so that said, I've promised 5 great tips to make you a better writer. And so if you have a pen and piece of paper and you are listening to this now or listening to it later, and you can ask me a couple questions if you want, I'm going to, hi, Charlene, it's so good to see you. Are you here for 5 writing tips? I'm sure that you'll use them at some point. You're so creative. So the first one is getting rid of the word it in any of your writing. There's no place for it. If you are using the word it to describe anything, then you need to think about what you're avoiding saying in that sentence, or a different way that you can be creative. There are millions of people writing books. You are competing against a very large audience. So you need to look at each sentence and ask yourself, is there something I can do better than using the word it? The second tip that I give is, and all my clients know this is a big bone of contention for me when they use the words probably, sometimes, or maybe. You're writing the book, or you're writing about your life, or you're writing about an experience that you had. There is no room for probably, or maybe, or sometimes. It doesn't exist. You are the authority on this story. You are the authority on your life. You are the authority on these experiences. It's not possibly, and it's not probably, and it's not maybe. So look out for a couple of those cropping up in your writing, and you'll be forced to make sentences that are clearer and more concise and more direct. And that'll make you stand out as an author among all the millions of people that are writing books as well, transforming. You know, a lot of people are having these transformative experiences, but you can also be an incredible writer. Then many other people will read your book and you will have solved the problem. It's like me wanting to make movies and not having a lot of people see them. You can write books that are amazing and have a lot of people read them. The third one is just trying to avoid using the same noun or the same verb in the same sentence. Trusting, and then using trusting again, or experience, and then using experience again. There are so many words in the English vocabulary. Get out the thesaurus. I urge you to not necessarily use Grammarly on your first draft. It will give you all these clever words, but it tends to not know the deeper understanding of what you're writing about. So I would just try and go into a thesaurus if you're looking for another word to replace a double verb or a double noun. The fourth tip, and I'm running through these because I know that people have a lot to do. It's Tuesday morning, it's not even lunchtime yet, and there's so much to accomplish before even 12. So I'm running through these pretty quick. But the next tip is, don't say I think. We don't need to say that in writing. There isn't any place for it. If you're writing fiction and a character says, I think, maybe, although most amazing fiction writers come up with a lot of other ways to do dialogue, I would suggest that you get rid of the word I think. We know you think it. Thanks, Anne-Marie. I appreciate it. I hope you're writing them down. And write something, and I can read it and see you not using any of them. I think these should just be eliminated. We know you think. You're the authority. We're already reading about it, and we're already hooked into your story, so don't pull us out with any kind of doubt words. I call these doubt words, writer doubt words. And the last tip, which is a hard one with memoirs, especially when people are writing about really difficult subject matter, is telling you how hard it was to write the book. We can understand this was a big challenge by the fact that you've done it. Anybody who hasn't written a book or doesn't want to write a book knows writing a book is extremely hard to do, especially a good book. So you don't need to tell us about it. Now, I'm going to just say there is one exception because I did it in my memoir, and I'm going to explain how I set it up because there are clever ways to do this, and this just landed in my lap. My book was in its second draft. I was really stalled. I emotionally couldn't get to the other end, and I knew I had to hire an editor to walk me along to the third draft, and it was just sitting on the floor. I knew who she was. She was one call away. I knew what she cost. I knew when she was done with me, the book was going to go to a book agent. So I was on that precipice of making that big leap to putting my book out in the world. And I would leave the draft on the floor printed because I'm old school. I love to print my books and just read them that way. I like to get off the laptop. And my cat went through must have been like 10 or 15 pages of the first chapter. And I had to write that in the book and say the cat was even saying, lady, get on with this already. So I tell that story in the beginning of the first chapter of my book. But unless you have a really good, compelling story that drives us forward to seeing your stuckness, I would suggest that you don't tell us about it. So hopefully those tips have helped. In my October 28th workshop, there's going to be new tips for writers. We do incredible writing prompts that leave people really thinking about what they have more to write about. Thank you, Mary Lynn. That's great. I really appreciate your comment. Thank you. I hope it helped. And again, October 28th, the link is here on my post. You go to my website, astoryinside.com. You can also sign up there for a little pop-up window will come up, and you can sign up for 12 tips to know if you should be writing your book, which are great story tips. And I appreciate you spending your time with me today. Every Tuesday, I'm going to be doing this at 11:30, and I'm going to start interviewing some of my authors who are now have their books getting published traditionally and also self-publishing, and they're going to talk about their process, and they're going to give some emotional experiences that they had, that what writing through them did for them in their lives. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.